Okay. The laughter was not entirely inside. But years ago on the subway in NY, a crazy dude walks on the train and screams at everyone, "You're all going to hell," and then steps off as the doors close. Total silence as the weirdness of the moment settles in. Then, without missing a beat, guy across from me goes, "Shit, I thought this train was going to Harlem this year." Entire subway car of cynical New Yorkers bursts out laughing. The college I attend frequently has local elementary and middle school kids on tours, especially on Fridays. One particular Friday I was in line for the cafeteria when a group of kids came walking by with a tour guide. One kinda chubby little dude looked a bit uncomfortable. He was biting his lip a little and sweating. This part of the tour is usually when they have a bathroom break, and clearly Buddy needed to go. At this point I should note that the bathrooms are visible from where we're standing, but the tour guide, a fellow student of mine, didn't seem to notice. She just kept going on, talking about the history of the building. I watched this kid go from nervous to deeply anxious to visibly clenching over a span of about 3 minutes. He's staring at the stick figure dude on the men's bathroom sign as if it was the risen Christ. Miss Tour guide takes a break in her spiel. I figure she's done. The next words out of her mouth will be ones to free this boy from the purgatory that is having to use the bathroom on a school trip. It'll be over. He'll be free. What followed instead was this. In 1995, a professor named ABC Kalamazoo *move lady. I'm gonna shit my ass. He ran past her to the bathroom and presumably destroyed it. Poor guy. Had the entire line in tears with laughter though. Worked at a smoke shop that sold electronic cigarettes years ago. A customer came in complaining that the new flavor made her pee smell funny. I couldn't keep a straight face when I said I wasn't sure if that was related. Then she says, "Oh, well, it could be an STD or something, I guess, thanks," and walked out. Met a guy while camping a few years ago. He told us, matter-of-factly, that he was a redneck hippie back in the 60s. He was there for the sex and the drugs, but not so much that love and peace shit. We still crack up about that. May of 2000. Passing through Norwood, Louisiana with a friend. At around 2 in the afternoon we stopped to gas up, grab some snacks at the most podunk gas station known to man. The young man, extremely agitated, comes in with frustrated gestures and angrily shouts gestures at the cashier, with an accent that is beyond region, beyond stereotyping, beyond anything I have heard before. Where da goddamned Wally Melions at at the top of lungs, approaching hysteria and tears. A few years ago I let my friend cut my hair. It did not go well. I was living in Philadelphia at the time and was walking through South Philly when I passed 2 strangers in the middle of the conversation. As I pass, one of them says to the other, "Hold up, I gotta talk to this guy." He proceeds to shout to me, "Ayo, your hair looks like shit. Come over here." I was amused, partially because of his bluntness and partially because he wasn't wrong. I was curious, so I walked over to him. "Monsieur," he says, "look, a buddy of mine owns a barber shop 2 blocks away. Here's his business card. I'll write my name on there. If you mention that I sent you, he'll give you a good deal." Bruh. But seriously, take care of that shit. I never ended up going to his friend's shop. But I frequently use this story as the perfect example of Philly culture. Rude, blunt, and in your face, yet somehow coming from a place of genuine care. Plus, it's fucking hilarious. I once was canoeing with my fiancé for the first time and we were having a bit of trouble at first getting a rhythm going, so we were along the edge of the water hitting the canal. This random couple was walking along the wall and said to his wife while pointing at us, "Ah, canoeing, the true test of love." My fiancé and I bursted into laughter for 20 minutes and then finally got our rhythm together. No so much said to me as overheard. Walking down the street with my fiancé after dinner. A man and woman pass us. Very clearly I heard the man say, quote, and that's the second time I got crabs. I just keep a special little comb at the house now, just in case. I'm not sure of any particulars and have thought about that interaction often. So many questions. I know they heard me laugh though. Edit. Damn everyone. Thanks for all the great stories. Good to know there are so many jokers out there in the world. I must have been about 10 or 11. I sat down on a bench next to an old guy to sort my shoe out. I took my shoe off and he just turns to me and says, "Are they golfing socks?" I look at him with a completely blank look on my face thinking, WTF. As I looked away he just said, "There's a hole in one." I used to be a smoker. One time a scruffy-looking man asked me for a light. I told him I only had matches. It was very windy. He said, "That's okay. There's a trick to it. You light the match and then stick down real hard. You get a mouthful of sulfur that way. But you gotta have a trick when you're going 30 miles an hour on top of a tank." An old man on the street with a big jack-o'-lantern grin on his face and 2 chihuahuas under each arm loudly proclaiming to no one in particular, "I used to carry grenades. Now I carry dogs." Quote, I work in retail, and I'm not sure why, but this had me dying for a while. I still laugh when I think about it. Me. "How you doing today, sir?" Customer. "Yep," and he went on his way. When I served, I had a table of about 20 Asian people. The head of the group shook my hand and introduced himself as Tony. Tony the Tiger. He tried to sound cool and tough, but all I could think of was the cereal mascot. Just the other day checking out at the Cracker Barrel, the older gentleman ringing my wife up accidentally said, with all confidence, "Have a thank you." Quote, I was doing tech support over the phone for an internet company at a call center. I got a call from an elderly woman because her internet stopped working. After checking remotely that the modem was working and that there was no issues on her area, I was scheduling a visit from one of our technicians when she suddenly says, "Oh, I know what happened. The cat was playing around the router yesterday?" "Right. You think it took a cable or something?" "No. He probably took away the Wi-Fi." "You mean like he moved the router?" No. He probably took the airwaves of the Wi-Fi. You know how cats see things we can't. He surely say the Wi-Fi signal. Grabbed it and took it away." It took all my willpower to not laugh in her face and finish the call. In college, this one girl in the front of the room chimes in on something and mentioned that her eyes change color during the summer every year from blue to green. This black dude in the back of the class whispers to his friend, "Yeah, bitch." And I turn white in winter. I had to remove myself immediately before I made a scene from laughing so hard. I was at a 50th wedding anniversary party and there were lots of elderly people in attendance. An old man was standing next to me and said, "It looks like a fucking graveyard in here." I literally spit my beer out. We were outdoors. The kicker was the guy was close to the same age as everyone else. Someone called me, said, "Piece of pizza?" in a Mexican accent and hung up. Something I overheard as 2 kids walked past our caravan park site. A rumbling boom of distant thunder. Kid 1, "I like thunder. It sounds like a 200-year-old dog who's retired and helps old people who are blind to get around." Kid 2, silence. Kid 1, "You know?" Kid 2, "But why is it retired?" Kid 1, "Because it's old." Kid 2, "But it's still helping blind people." Kid 1, silence. I was seated in a crowded New York subway car when the guy standing in front of me passed gas. It was intense. The man sitting next to me held his nose and said, "How now, brown cow?" At a festival and sitting around the campfire when a very intoxicated man kept saying, "I need to borrow your fireplace." Quote, he wouldn't let it go, despite being right by the fire. Turns out he needed a lighter for his cigarette and was so drunk that he forgot what it was called. My laughter was not internal. I died laughing right in front of him. Monsieur did. My first gold. Thank you, internet friend. A few months ago I was waiting at a road crossing with loads of other strangers, waiting for the man to turn green. This was a busy main road in my city. A little girl on the other side of the road did the most accurate impression of the beep beep that the crossing makes so blind people know it's safe to cross. And the entire crowd of people just stepped into the road. I had seen her do it, so I stayed put, but I couldn't stop laughing. My girlfriend was confused. 50 adults pranked by one absolute genius 6-ish-year-old. It was magical. I'm in the bathroom at work washing my hands and one of the professors that I don't think I've ever actually spoken to comes in and starts washing her lanyard in the sink. I try to make small talk with work people even though I suck at it, so I try to strike up a conversation that goes down as follows. Morning. Ugh, I spilled coffee on my lanyard and now it's all sticky. Blah, that's the worst. At this point she turns off the faucet and looks at me completely deadpan with eyes that said she wanted to feed me my own innards and said, I think genocide is worse, so I awkwardly mumbled, monsieur, yeah, okay, bye, have a nice day, and quickly escaped. It's turned into a running joke in my office now though. Anything from the printer being out of toner to a fire drill on the cold day is literally worse than genocide. Watched a guy walking to class at my college years ago saying, get the fuck out of my way, to a pigeon standing in his path. The pigeon quickly waddled off to the side.